detailing the sections which he refused to approve. In the letter read by the Senate President, President Jonathan rejected the alteration of Section 9 of the Constitution, which removes the approval of the President in the process of Constitution amendment.
Section 4 of the 4th Alteration Act 2015 seeks to act Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution by the insertion of a new subsection 3A, which dispenses with the assent of the President in the process of constitutional amendment. However, this alteration can only be valid if the proposal was supported by the votes of not less than 4/5 majority of all the members of each House of the National Assembly and approved by a resolution of the House of Assembly of not less than 2/3 of all the states as provided by Section 9, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution.
President Jonathan also rejected the amendment which seeks to separate the office of the Attorney General of the Federation from the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General from the Commissioner for Justice in the respective states of the Federation.
Section 45A of the 4th Alteration Act 2015, which guarantees the right to free basic education, is too open-ended and should have been restricted to government schools. This is because a right, unless qualified or restricted, must be observed by all. The same argument applies to Section 45B, which guarantees unqualified right to free primary and maternal care services. The implication of this is that private institutions will be obliged under the Constitution to offer free medical services since it is a right.
The National Assembly has not come out with an official position on the matter, but the Deputy Senate President, in a surprising move, made this request at plenary.
Sir, we noticed that second to the last paragraph, the State President said he was returning the bill with the letter. Unfortunately, the bill was not returned with the letter, and we could not proceed because we would like to see the returned bill. Now, the committee have asked me to raise this point to request Mr. President of the Senate to ask the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to send back the original copy of the bill as sent to him, especially the signature page, to enable us to proceed with our work.
Some lawmakers told Channels Television that the President's decision to veto the Constitution Amendment Bill is not in the best interest of the country.
Whoever advised him to toe that line did him no justice because he wants to bow out as a non-democrat.
Some of the issues, that I'm reading through that letter, it gives the impression that the executive ascribes to itself the right or the sole right to evolve or initiate bills. That removes the reason for being of the National Assembly.
There is no need bickering over it. He has performed his duties. He has mentioned what he needs to mention. It is now for us to say, okay, yes, we accept it, or no, we don't. And if we say no, we don't, what do? We go back to the Constitution that empowers us to override his veto, and it becomes law.
Some others also maintained that the National Assembly went through due process in amending the Constitution.
Given the amount of work that has gone into the Constitution review, input from all Nigerians, and they expect the President to perform his duty of giving assent into a process that has been done publicly, transparently, openly, and has been seen to substantially comply, in fact, to completely comply with the provisions of the Constitution for such amendment.
The Parliament is in control of its procedures. Mr. President will not teach the Parliament how to do its work. But because he's Mr. President, his opinion is important. It cannot be wished away. As a Parliament, we have done our bit. We forwarded a bill to Mr. President for his assent. Mr. President also has a constitutional right to veto a bill, or to withhold his assent to a bill sent to him. And the Constitution also allows the Parliament to take a position on withholding of assent by Mr. President. We would look at Mr. President's opinion, but this is a very serious matter. This bill has gone through the constitutional procedure. All the houses of assembly across the state have considered this amendment. They've taken a position, voted, and sent it back to the National Assembly as required by the Constitution. And as far as we're concerned, we've taken all the necessary steps as required by the Constitution. Now, Mr. President's opinion would be important, but of course it would not determine whether or not Parliament has taken a position.
We want to have back transmitted to us what we sent to him. If we didn't include the Hansard copy where we did that amendment, of course, he would be right to have said that it's not tangible because we are supposed to enclose it. But that is not the main issue. He also raised a fundamental point that even that area of alteration will erode into the powers of the executive, especially the power of the president of the federation. That's another kettle of tea. We'll look at it.
For nearly 3 years, the 7th National Assembly has been working to amend the Constitution, spending billions of naira in the process. But President Jonathan vetoing some of the amendments is a major setback for federal lawmakers in the 7th Assembly. The Constitution amendment process has so far gobbled a whopping 1 billion naira, money which may sadly go down the drain if the National Assembly and the President are unable to resolve this impasse.
The attention of the world is now focused on happenings in South Africa. Reports of killings, attacks, and looting. Reports that are of concern to the House of Representatives. The world has been hit by news of killings and attacks on Nigerians and other Africans living in South Africa. Reports detail how shops of Nigerians are vandalized and looted and many beaten up. This report has made the House of Representatives to consider the matter. The sponsor of the motion said the reports are disturbing.
The House notes sadly that the recent attacks, which has left many dead, businesses and shops vandalized, many beaten up mercilessly, was incited by a statement allegedly made by South African Zulu king Goodwill's Welthini, who told African migrants to go home as they are no longer welcome in South Africa. The son of the president, President Zuma, Edward Zuma, allegedly echoed the same sentiment. This ignited a strong debate and was still immediate backlash of violent reactions among the Zulus in KwaZulu, who unleashed terror on foreign immigrants, including Nigerians, in Johannesburg, Durban, and Pretoria. They stole, broke into their homes, their businesses, took their properties, and killed many of them. At least on that same day, 5 were killed in Durban, hundreds stranded and unable to return home or open their businesses. Recall that a similar incident happened in January this year, in which 4 people died during the looting of shops owned by foreigners in South Africa. Also recall that a similar incident occurred in 2002, with about 60 African migrants killed, including Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Congolese, Malawians, and of course Nigerians.
Lawmakers who contributed to the debate took turns to condemn the attacks.
Nigerian lives are as important as any life, irrespective of where they find themselves. Especially when you consider that they are doing their legitimate businesses in such countries. We have other nationals in our country, and Nigerian government has always protected them in times of these calamities.
When we were in secondary school, we contributed our pocket money so that the fight in South Africa, the fight against apartheid, could be, given a boost. I'm really saddened to see that it is these same South Africans that are now killing us on the streets of South Africa for the mere reason that we are Nigerians. This is very, very unbecoming indeed. And in